Hi, thanks for being here. Hi there. Thanks for being here. I am excited to chat with all of you about our home and what it has to do with our life. So, our home holds the space for our life. Hi, thank you all for being here. So we're going to talk about our home life connection. So our home, it plays a huge role in our, not only our well-being, but what's happening in our life. And so if you think about what you put in your mouth being as important to how you feel, right? So what we eat influences our vitality and our physical well-being and our nutrition and our health. Our home acts that same way for our life. And our home reflects what's happening in our life. And so I could come into your home and without you telling me anything about yourself, your home is going to tell a story. Our home reflects what's happening in our outer life, and our home reflects what's happening within our mind. And so we want to bring our awareness to what's going on in our physical space. And this isn't about interior design in the way that how your home looks, like if your home should look like it's in a magazine. And that's a lot like our body, right? Like our body is a expression of who we are, and not as much in how it looks, but the vitality that we radiate. And so sometimes I tend to go down wormholes. So if I'm going down a wormhole, I'll redirect myself. So your home is telling you a story about your life. And why this is important is because our home might be perpetuating a cycle that we don't want. And so we want to get really curious about what our house is reflecting to us about ourselves, but also what is our house perpetuating in our life? Are there cycles in our life that aren't in alignment with what we want for ourselves? And so the first place to start is getting curious about your home. So when you look at your home, you want to ask yourself, do I like my home? Do I love it? Or are there things I dislike about it? Do I feel like my home is a reflection of me and what I love about myself and my life? And then, is my home supporting my dreams? Is my home supporting where I want to go? Because a lot of times what happens, our home is perpetuating, let's see, and I will answer comments. So I love that there's comments and that you have questions, and so keep them coming. I get a little bit distracted by them, but I want to address all of this. So the first thing we want to do with our home is we want to make sure there's nothing in our home that we do not like, do not use, and doesn't support our goals. Okay. And then we want to look at our home and we want to ask, are there aspects of my home that are perpetuating a story from the past or perpetuating a cycle that I'm in that isn't helpful? So if y'all have any questions, I'm going to do some sharing and then I'll answer some questions or address comments. So there's one comment that I have my first apartment and all I have in it is a mattress, a fan, and a TV. So that is okay, right? Because to me, that's speaking of you have a really exciting new beginning and you get to determine what is welcome through your front door. So if you imagine your front door is sort of like your mouth, and what you ingest is your choice. What you put in your body is your choice. So am I self-soothing and am I eating something that just makes me emotionally fills me up, but it might be also self-sabotage? And the same is with your home. What you bring through your front door, whether it's junk mail, whether it's you just had an emotional shopping spree and bought a bunch of stuff that you didn't necessarily love or you didn't have intention around, or gossip. It can come down to things that aren't even physical. What you allow through your front door is as important to your well-being as what you put in your mouth. Okay, and what you allow into your body. And so we want to change the way we think about our space, because our home is our visual real estate, and what we see with our eyes, what we take in with our senses, is communicating to our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind communicates through the senses. I'm going to read another comment. I'm going to move soon, and I plan to buy only a bed, a desk, and a chair, and a place for my books, and all white. So I love that. And it's going to be really fun to decide what ingredients get to come with you on this next story, right? So if you think about your home as your living vision board, because it really is, our home is like a living vision board. And so what we put around us in the space of our home, whether it's a visual cue or an auditory cue, whatever it is communicating to us on a subconscious level, conscious and subconscious level. And so what happens is, with intention, we're making this subconscious relationship with our home more conscious. And so we want to bring our intention, and especially when you're moving into a new space, that's a fantastic opportunity to look at your existing things and think, okay, what do I have that I want to carry forward into my story? What is going to serve the person I want to become, the life I'm creating, and what no longer serves this story? And there's an important point I want to make, that we don't want to hold on to things in our home that are related to guilt. So an example of this, if somebody gives you a gift, if you go through your whole home and you look at it and you're like, okay, what do I love? What do I use? And what supports my goals? And you discover you have a lot of things that you do not use, you do not love, and it doesn't support your goals. And a handful of those things were given as a gift. And this person is going to have their feelings hurt or be mad if you throw away something they gave you, right? So when someone gives us a gift and it's in our home and we don't use it, we don't love it, and it doesn't support our goals, we are doing ourselves a disservice by holding on to it. And what is that saying about the relationship? Do you do things for others that don't support you, but you do it out of guilt or obligation or someone else's expectations? And so this is where this dance of how our home speaks to our subconscious and these different layers of home. And our home is a really amazing platform for helping us with our self-awareness, for helping us get to these different layers that are causing self-sabotage, these different layers of core beliefs that are getting in the way of us living the life we want. And so this is just sort of the tip. And the mental reset is the course that I've developed, this program, 12-week program that I've developed, and it takes us through every single room in our home while we're looking at these layers of the subconscious mind, self-sabotage, survival mode, and these different types of life clutter that show up in our house. Because each room in our home is related to a different area of our life. So I'm going to take it back a little bit, because I tend to sort of jump in and get deep all at once. So imagine you have two homes. You have the place where you live, where the place you call home, but our primary home is in our mind and body. So our mind holds, we have our cerebral mind, and then we also have our feelings, which reside in our body. And so we have our internal home, and then we have our external home, which is the place where we live, our residence. And our home communicates a silent language. Our inner and outer home communicate a silent language. And so once we understand what this language is and how it's communicating with our subconscious, then we're able to articulate or curate our space without buying a thing, so that it is communicating what we want. So our home is in alignment with what we want for ourselves. And we have to do this in both of our homes. So we take our intention, we take our desires, because our desires are fundamental for living the life we want. So we focus on our desires first. And then we look at our physical space to say, okay, how are my desires supported in my space? And then we look at, how is my space communicating with my subconscious? How do I want my subconscious? How do I want my internal home to feel? And that's where we start looking at values. And so our home provides this blueprint for accessing how we want to live our external life and how we want to experience our inner world. So, and this is what all of my work is about. It weaves design and desire and epigenetics and neuroplasticity into this one philosophy. So, and epigenetics, if you're not familiar with epigenetics, think of a petri dish. So epigenetics is how our environment informs outcomes. And so Bruce Lipton is like what I call the godfather of epigenetics. And he basically studied stem cells, identical stem cells, and he put them in two separate environments, so two separate petri dishes. And what he discovered was you can change the outcome of identical cells when you put them in different environments. And so if you apply this concept to your home, our home is like our petri dish for our life. And so you can be living in a jail cell with barred windows and cinder block walls, and everything is shades of gray and brown, oppressive. Or you can put that same person in a beautiful sanctuary with natural light coming through the windows and beautiful scenes outside the windows and comfortable furnishings. You can put two people in two separate environments and they will have very different outcomes. If any of you are neuroscientists or know neuroscientists and would like to do this experiment, have them contact me. We could change our incarceration system, our prison system, by the way we design these spaces. Like, we're perpetuating huge problems when our prison systems they're exacerbating a problem. It would be a really fascinating study to change the way we design prisons and what we do in that environment and see how the outcome would be. Like, can you imagine if we put, and I'm not saying that, we want to reward people in prisons, but if we looked at the prison system as truly a way to rehabilitate, just by changing the environment, we could change outcomes. So anyway, that's an example of a rabbit hole I go down. So anyway, our home is a huge opportunity for us to enhance our overall well-being and specific areas of our life. And so that's what my mental reset program is. That's what all of my work centers around, how we can, one, enhance our life right now. And the first thing is get the toxic clutter out of your house. And that's anything in your home that brings up a negative feeling, a negative memory, or just brings up a bad emotion. You want that out of your house. That is like visual poison in your home. And because every time your mind sees it, the subconscious is having whatever that statement is. So every single item in our home, it has a cue It has a mental cue attached to it. And it might be a thought, it might be a feeling, it might be a memory. But every single time we see toxic clutter in our home, it is bringing up and it is starting that negative chain of thoughts. And I say this a lot, and I'm going to say it again just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Our mind has 50,000 to 75,000 thoughts every single day. And 90 to 95% of those thoughts, the majority of those thoughts, are happening in the subconscious mind. And that means we're not consciously aware of the program that's playing constantly within our mind. And so when you think of it in those terms, it's sort of like we're being brainwashed by whatever is happening in the subconscious. And we just want to make sure what's happening in the subconscious mind is beneficial, it's helpful, it's supportive, it's encouraging what we want. And in the mental reset, I go into all of that. Like it's a 12-week program with lessons every weekday for about 15 minutes to half an hour of lessons every day, every weekday for 12 weeks. And you get to do the work actively in your home. And so at the end of 12 weeks, your home is a completely different experience. The way you see your home, the way your self-conception, the way you perceive yourself is completely different. And so it's called the mental reset, but it's a complete remind and redesign, and you don't have to buy anything. And that's the great thing about this work, is that you might need to remove some things from your home, but you don't have to buy anything. It's about curation, right? When we curate something, we're telling a story, we're creating a narrative. And with holistic design, we want our home to communicate the narrative that we get excited about, so that when we wake up in the morning, we're excited about our day. We're excited about the possibility. So let's see. The question is, how long per day are the lessons? So every weekday there is a lesson and a video. The videos are up to 15 minutes. And then there's some work that you integrate into your day. And so one of the things that I really recommend for everyone to do, whether you take the mental reset or not, is Julia Cameron she conceptualized this idea of morning pages. And if you don't know her work, she wrote a book called The Artist Way, and it's phenomenal. It also is a 12-week program, and it's about how to come into relationship with yourself, because the truth is all of us are artists. And when we tap into the juicy essence of who we are all artists. We tap into our own creativity, whatever that looks like. And morning pages is a practice to help get us there quickly. And so what are morning pages? You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you do the bare minimum you need to do. You grab your journal and a pen and you just write for 3 pages. And that takes 15 or 20 minutes, depending on how big your journal is. And why do we do that? We do it because what is on our mind will continue, right? We have these loops of 50,000 to 75,000 thoughts every day, and they just keep going and going and going. But when we get out of bed and we write down, when we purge whatever is on our mind, and it doesn't have to make sense, it doesn't have to be eloquent. No one's going to read this again. You may never read it again. It's basically a purge to get what's on your mind out on paper. And so it's like clearing out the clutter. And this is like our house, right? We clear out the clutter of our mental house every morning and we throw it on the paper. And what happens is inspiration follows. And this is the same with your house, right? When you clear out the clutter, you're making space for something new. And so with morning pages, I recommend to everyone, whether you're doing my program or not, get up in the morning, write 3 pages, because you're getting the clutter out. And once you start getting the clutter out, inspiration is going to come, your ideas, your clarity. So that's the first thing. So every day in the program, you do morning pages. and you listen to a video that's up to 15 minutes. And then the rest of the material I'm sharing, you're integrating it into your day. You're infusing it into your space, because this is how we reprogram those neural grooves of our subconscious, because our home perpetuates what's going on in our subconscious mind. And so what we want to do is we want to take advantage of that. If our home is going to perpetuate what's happening in the subconscious mind, then we're going to use our home to perpetuate what we want to create in our outer life and how we want to feel in our inner life. And so I've come up with a program that nails it. So my expertise is in how we interpret architectural spaces and the internal architecture of our mind. And so our environment is here, and the conclusions we come up with, the narrative, the self-perception of us in our life is here. And so what happens between these two spaces is really fertile, and it's really malleable. And so we can take any environment, and if we know how we want to feel, and that's why our desire is so important, we get to create. We get to be the architects of our own life. And it's just knowing what you want, knowing how your environment is communicating with your subconscious, and what you want that to feel like. And those are the only ingredients you need. You need to know what you want, which is how do I want to feel and what do I want to create in my life? And then you need to know how to interpret your environment into meaning. And we're doing it every single day. Whether we realize it or not, we are interpreting our environment into meaning, and the output is our feelings and what we're creating in our life. So we're doing it by default. And what we want to do is we want to do it with intention. So when if you think about it, we've been living the majority of our life haphazardly. We don't know how our environment is communicating with us, and what's happening in our life is the byproduct of it. How we feel in our body, how we feel in our mind is the byproduct of this relationship between our environment and our mind running rampant. And so once we bring our intention to it, everything changes. I have a teacher, and she said awareness leads to change, and awareness always leads to change. And so once we bring our awareness to this connection between our home and our life, then it's a game changer. Everything changes, right? It's like knowing how, I can't think of a good example right now, but basically like knowing how to form electricity, it changes everything. Like once you make a connection between two things, like once you see the connection between two things in your mind, it completely changes your perspective. And one of the things that I find is the most important, I mean, there's so many most important things in my world, but our self-perception, who we perceive ourselves to be, how we perceive life to be, our internal narratives and the conclusions we come up with are the biggest obstacle getting in our way. And so if we can shed some light on how we're translating our environment into meaning and what that means about us, we can change everything. Like all possibility opens up. So I'm offering this course for 30% off I've been doing it for the last 3 days. It ends today. If you're interested in doing the mental reset, you can do it on your own. You can still get 30% off. I'm offering 2 versions of the mental reset 12-week program. One is do it on your own, go at your own pace. And the other is doing it with me beginning July 15th for 12 weeks. And there's weekly calls and ongoing texting. Or with Telegram. We have a community on Telegram. And so right now I'm offering 30% off, and the code is FLASH30. And so you can do it by yourself or you can do it with me. And here's the thing, and it's, and someone asked, please share. Please let me know specifically what you want me to share and I'll totally share it. So right now it's 30% off and the code is FLASH30. And if you can't sign up by today, just DM me and say, hey, I really want to do the course and can you extend the discount for me for another day? And so here's another thing about me. I believe that the exchange, the way we have exchange going on right now in the world, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We don't all live in the same country, and so our exchange rates are all very different. And so I have a new sort of paradigm for exchange. So I want to answer this question real quick. So y'all like me to share more about the program. So the Mental Reset, Remind, and Redesign program is a 12-week program. You can go at your own pace. It works well in 12 weeks, but you could do it over 12 months. You could do it, you probably can't do it in 12 days. I've tried to do it in 5 weeks, and that was too much. So the Mental Reset program is a step-by-step, room-by-room exploration of your outer home and your inner home. And so we're going to go room by room through your home, and we're going to be looking at what your space is communicating about a specific area of your life. And we're going to be looking at the core beliefs and your self-perception and self-sabotage and survival mode and 8 different types of life clutter that are getting in the way. The 8 different types of life clutter are physical, mental, emotional. And then within those categories is financial clutter, relationship clutter, vitality or health clutter, time clutter, and verbal clutter. There are a few more brands of clutter that I don't go into in this program, but it's like our family, like familial, and like our lineage and our societal clutter and our like historical clutter. I don't go into those in this program. It is a deep dive into your space and yourself. And several people have gone through it. It opened in January and their lives are already changing. Like this is information that you will learn how to be your own life coach. You will learn how to be your own inner guru, and you will have a map that you can reference for the rest of your life, because as we evolve, like we meet new parts of ourselves. We meet like evolution. When we evolve, it's not like, oh, I'm self-awakened. Like you could be self-awakened and still be evolving every day. You can be self-awakened and still grovel emotionally and hit rock bottom. Like if we are doing life right, we are constantly like spiraling up to whoever we're meant to become. Like that hopefully never stops. And so the program I've developed is basically a format and a blueprint that you will go through it and you won't be the same. Like you just won't be the same. And the fun thing is it starts the day you begin. It's day one, everything changes. And the person we become at the end of the 12 weeks, like it won't be different. And one thing that I want to say that's really important is our home evolves with us. Like think back to the home you had where you lived when you were 20 years old and how you created your bedroom. Think of where you lived when you were 28. Would it look the same as it did when you were 20? No, because we evolve and we grow. And as we evolve and grow, our needs change. What we want changes. And so this is like one little way that our home reflects who we are and where we are in our life. And so when we want change, so it works both ways. It works inside out and outside in. And that's one of the things that's so exciting about this, is that our home evolves with us. And if we want something in our life to change, if we're ready to develop into something new in our life, we can instigate that change from working with our physical space. It's a really great way to accelerate the change we want. And so, yes, absolutely. Our home evolves with us, and we can use our home as a catalyst to evolve into areas that we want. And that means internal evolving and instigating change in our outer life. So 100%, if we make changes in our home, we will see changes in our life. Like, it's inevitable. And so what I accidentally realized in doing this program is that our home is a means of manifesting. Our home is helping us manifest right now. And so if we don't like our home, if we don't think our home is reflecting what we want to get on that pronto, because our house is a manifesting partner. Our house is a programming partner. And so if you want to reprogram what's going on in your subconscious mind, if you're hard on yourself, if you have patterns that you're over with and cycles that you're ready to end and have a breakthrough, take it to your home. Our home has so much to teach us about our life. And as you can see, I'm really excited about it. So the easiest thing you can do is just watch what I put out on Instagram. There's not enough time for me to put everything out on Instagram. So I also have a free membership, and okay, so I'm going to get in and out of what I'm saying. Okay, someone else said that they're starting their home from scratch. We've had a lot of people starting their home from scratch and stuck in money worries. So I keep holding off on buying furniture even. And that's okay. Like, one of the things that is really important to recognize is that it's not what's in your home that's so important. It's your belief and your attitude and the conclusions you're making about what's in your home. And so remember, I said awareness leads to change. And so if we have a home that's empty or it's full of clutter, it's affecting us and we're not aware of it. But as soon as you become aware that there's a relationship between your home and your mind and your life, and you bring your intention to the space, you can change the narrative. You can change the conclusions that it means within an instant. So let's say you have a brand new space, it has white walls, and you have a bed and a table and one chair. So that is okay. One narrative could be, I don't have enough money to buy what I want. This isn't the life I want. I am failing. I'm letting myself down. The other narrative that you could say about the exact same space is, I am starting my life on a clean slate with so much intention that not a single thing is allowed through my door unless it gets me excited about what's ahead, unless it reflects what's ahead. And so my space is a blank canvas because my life is a blank canvas right now, and every single thing that's coming in is going to bring me more abundance and more prosperity. And if not, it's not allowed in. And so right now, nothing is allowed in. So anyway, this is what the mental reset is all about. This is what all of my work is all about. So I would love it if you would join my free tribe. It's totally free. I send a newsletter. It's called a newsletter. It's just me sharing. Every Sunday, I share. And if you need more free stuff, then just check out everything I do on Instagram. The next thing is the mental reset. I am offering the mental reset in two ways. you can just sign up for the mental reset and go at your own pace. Or you can join with me live, and we have weekly calls, and this is going to begin on July 15th. And it's going to run for 12 weeks. Whichever way you do it, your life will not be the same after the 12 weeks, like I promise. It's like, you know how you can go to another country and not know the language, but it's still a really great experience? Well, that's the same way with your home. Like, you can come home and not know the language, and it'll be the experience it is. But once you know the language and you go into that new country, everything changes. Like, you can't, like, let's say now you can speak Italian. You go to Italy, wow. Italy is like exponentially more amazing than you ever thought, right? Because you understand the language, you can communicate with the people, like you can really get in there. This is what our home offers. There is a whole new world of experience waiting for us. And the amazing thing is that once we understand this language, we don't just stop understanding our space or we don't just understand our space in a new way. We understand ourself in a new way. We understand these layers that we typically don't have access to because it's like its own experience as well. Let's see, I'm Canadian. Would you be able to explain the exchange? Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. Okay, so I have a model of exchange, and for decades, I've thought that this should be the way life is. And so I get to define my life on my own terms. And so the prices that I have on all of my products, those are, for lack of a better word, and they're American. My prices are American. And right now, America is not having the best experience. So this is a great time for me to introduce my level exchange. So for me, it's important that we invest in ourselves. And so what I am offering is an exchange of value. So what I want to know is what is doable for you and what is a stretch, because those two components have to be a part of this. So one, is this even possible? Because I could tell you the secret of life, but if I'm putting a price on it and it's not possible, then it's of no use. So one, is this price doable for me? That's the question for yourself. Can I pay this price? What price can I pay? And it has to be a stretch. If it's not a stretch for you, you're not going to value it. I could tell you, you could say, I can pay you $20 for your course, but really, that's not a stretch for you. $100 would be a stretch. Or even we go in the opposite direction. I have my course, the guided course with me for 12 weeks is $1,200. That might be nothing to you. You might be like, oh, Kimberly, I could pay you that every day. So $1,200 is doable, yes, but is it a stretch? No. So there's going to be a different value of exchange. And so this is my new model. If you are in a different country, or if my prices are not doable for you for any of my offerings, this is the new paradigm. This is my new paradigm of exchange. You think for yourself, what is a doable price? And what is a stretch for me? What is slightly uncomfortable and still doable? And that's our price. And that to me is integrity exchange. And so if you want to do any of my courses and it is out of reach, but it calls to you, then it's meant to be. So what's doable and what's a stretch? And with those two, DM me and let me know share with me a little bit about where you live and whatever, and what's doable and what's a stretch. And I'll see if that works for me, because I'm a single mom. I'm doing this. I'm starting from ground zero. I believe in this. This has been my work since I was 24, and I finally figured out a way. It's taken me so long. And throughout my life, I realized this is the place I was meant to come. And this is the information that this is my work. This is my passion. And I don't want to hold it back from anyone because they're in a different country and have a different exchange rate. So anyway, if y'all have, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you joined. Thank you so much for being here. Does anyone have any questions? I try to keep these calls under 45 minutes, but I would love to answer questions. If anyone has any questions, I'll go over quickly the things that I offer. So for free, you can become a member of my tribe, and there's a link in my profile. You also get a free intro course to the mental reset. So it's like a double free. The next thing is the mental reset. You can do it solo and go at your own pace. I recommend at least 12 weeks, or you can do it with me. And it's a guided 12-week program beginning July 15th. The other thing I offer is if you want to work with me one-on-one, we can do that. I'm also starting group coaching soon. If you're interested in that, let me know for sure. I would love to hear. And then I offer a 3-month program where we go through your home and we meet on an ongoing basis for 3 months, and we just stir up as much change as possible. The other thing that I offer that is a blast is where I come to your home for 3 days, and we do this entire process in 3 days at your house. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to DM me. And thanks for being here. It was really fun to share all of this with you. And I think just this little bit that I shared, if you start applying it, you're going to see changes in your life. And let me know. I would love to hear, take before and after pictures. That's really fun. Take before pictures of your space before you do anything, and then see how that changes. And then you'll notice your life is going to change. In a week, your life will be different. If you make space in your physical world, you're making space here for something new, and you're making space out in your life for something new to come. Okay? So morning pages, and keep following me. And if you want to do the mental reset program and it's out of reach, absolutely reach out to me. We have work to do in this life, and we have to get to it right now. Have a great day, and thank you for being here.